Asking my retired professor dad random questions. Dad, why did the potato famine happen in Ireland?
Well, church bells going on. Surprisingly enough, it's because the potato crop failed. There was something called potato blight, 1840s. This was not just because of the natural occurrence of potato blight, but because of the policies of the British government. Basically, you got this situation where the Catholic Irish were still very much deprived of rights in their own country. And the Protestant ascendancy, the Protestants who had come from mostly other parts of Britain, were the landlords, the wealthy class. They were horrible. Not all of them, of course, but many of them were really terrible in their response to this crisis. Instead of saying, okay, your potato crop has failed and you don't have any money, you can't pay your rent, well, we'll hold it off for a few months. They would kicking people out into the streets in their thousands, and people were dying out on the streets. So the landlords had a lot of blame here, and the British government also. It had these economic policies called laissez-faire, which meant basically you let market forces sort things out, except that market forces didn't sort things out. Market forces saw to it that all the other food that was being grown in Ireland was largely being sent abroad. There is still a debate about whether the British government actually was trying to wipe out the Irish at that point. Intervention was obviously needed in this case, and it did eventually come, but it came too late. The population of Ireland was about 8 million people before the famine, and afterwards it had gone down to about 5 million. Quite a lot of that, maybe as much as 2 million, if I've got my figures right, was a result of people actually leaving Ireland at that time. They went to America, they went to other places. But it's reckoned, I think, that at least 1 million people died. And one more point is that the Irish people were very deprived in those days, and most of them, many of them, subsisted on potatoes. The potato was the main foodstuff that they had. So once the potato crop failed, there was very little left for them to eat. And the last thing now that I wanted to say was that the whole famine issue was something I didn't learn about at school. Nobody ever talked about it, either at school or at university. So they often go on about countries not admitting to the terrible things they did in the past. Well, that's something that was definitely omitted from my education growing up in England. Okay, I shall now continue my morning in sunny Spain.